Blessings, a community of spouses. Listen, I am running behind. I am so sorry. I apologize. I was actually in the middle of traveling, and I am now available. I'm so sorry. I do hope that you guys would be able to still catch this. I am trying to put my pins in and everything. Please forgive me. Let me see if I can pin this. Hello. Forgive me. I am so sorry. I am running behind. And I was trying to, I was traveling from Florida, from Georgia to Florida. Let me just put this on here, and we will get started. Please forgive me. Alrighty. Y'all know I'm still trying to work this live thing and still trying to get it together, honey. So forgive me. Blessings, a community of spouses. Listen, Coach T here with you today. And honey, we got some tea for you. Listen, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I am super excited about today's session. Normally, I try to meet with you for about a good 15 minutes, But today, I am bringing on my mom. And we're going to have some girl talk. We're going to talk about mother stuff. We're going to talk about daughter stuff. We're going to talk about wife stuff. And so I'm super excited. So I want to see if I can bring her on, and we're going to just jump right into this. Let me see. I can't see out here. Okay. So I'm going to... Let's see if she can come on, if she can connect with me. Miss Fennell, come through, Diva, come through. That's my mama, y'all. That is my mama. Look, Jesus, come through. Happy Mother's Day. How are you?
Thank you. I am good. I am blessed.
I am trying to cut this volume up. I was just telling people to please forgive me for being late. We're running a little bit behind, but we're going to jump right into it. I told them we were going to have some mother and daughter time today. One of the things I wanted to emphasize was the importance of mothers and daughters restoring their relationship. Mothers and daughters restoring their relationship. And doing so, I am giving away a free session. To a mother and daughter. I'm giving away a free session. And so if you know anyone that you could tag on, anyone that's following us, if you want to tag some of your followers on, some of your friends on, that would be awesome. That would be great. Anyone that you feel like need a mother and daughter restoration session, Coach T is giving that away free for them today. That offer is good up until 11:59 p.m. You can email me. I pinned down my my website address, marriagechroniclesbytanika.com, and we can get you signed up for your mother and daughter restoration session. Mama, what's going on? What you got going on, Diva? You shining? You glowing?
Oh,
you
looking
God.
Good? Praise God.
Huh?
I do a little
looking
something.
Like you're looking?
I'm doing a little something.
I'm going to jump right into the word. Of course, I want to start us off in the with a Bible scripture out of Proverbs 31, and I'm going to read one of my favorite Bible verses that I share a lot with my mom, and I give her shout outs with, and I send her card greetings with. This is one of my favorite verses. This is one of my favorite Mother Day Bible verses, and it comes from out of Proverbs 31 verses 28 to 29, and it simply says, "Her children stand and bless her. Her husband praises her. there are many who do victorious and capable things in the world, but she suppresses them all. She suppresses them all. And when I say she, I am speaking about my mom. My mom suppresses them all. Listen, I want to start off today with you and ask you a few questions, if that is okay. If that is okay of us to ask you a few questions on this beautiful Saturday, just before Mother's Day, as we prepare for Mother's Day. Just to want to talk to my audience, my wives and my wives to be, giving them some insight and some wisdom from an older woman's perspective, and to see how you can share some information with us going forward. So I want to first start and say thank you for joining me today. And let's just jump right into the questions. Ma, how long were you and Daddy married? How long were you guys married for?
Approximately about 32 to 33 years.
32 to 33 years. Okay, so you got some wisdom underneath your belt. You can definitely share with the people what it is to be a wife. So what would be your definition of a wife? What would be your definition of a wife?
My definition of a wife, it will hold a lot of grounds. I would personally start off saying that as a wife, you have to be loyal. You have to be trustworthy, understanding, humble.
Yes, definitely understand.
I would say
You definitely have to be humble.
But my list can go on and on.
Yes, honey, yes. Okay, that's a good one. So if I was to ask you for the wife that is preparing to be a wife, or even for the wife that is already a wife, what would be something that you can share with them as far as like a wife who's preparing to be a wife? How do you know that you are ready to be a wife? How do you know that you are ready for marriage? Could you share some of that with us?
Well, first of all, you're going to know when you know. But my advice to someone that is preparing to be a wife, I would just tell them to basically take it slow.
Okay.
Slow.
Yes.
Yes. I would say make sure that the spouse, and I'm talking about men and women, make sure your spouse is equally yoked with you. Make sure that you pray about this thing. Make sure that this man or woman is a godly woman. And I would say, basically, I would just say go slow with that thing. I mean, they got to meet you halfway. You know what I'm saying? They got to be wanting some of the same things that you want in life, you know. Because what we, as a woman, we have to be that man's rib.
Okay.
So, I mean, once we commit ourselves like that, it's to death do us part. So I would basically say just go slow. I mean, you will have some. I'm not talking about go out there and get married in 3 months. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm right. Saying that. What I'm saying is take it slow. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it may take at least 2 years to get to know this person. You know what I'm saying? Do a background check. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do a background check. Make sure that he's meeting you in the middle. That's what I would say. Okay. I mean, you don't want anybody that, you know, and we as women, we fall into the gap of doing things and doing it too fast, you know what I'm saying? And just go slow with it. That's what I was saying.
So you would basically say for a wife that's preparing for marriage to basically just take your time, go slow, do your investigation, make sure that you know that he's the person, make sure that
and it will come to you. Given you and by all means pray about it.
Absolutely.
So a lot of these marriages, God didn't marry us. Some
That's
of these
true.
marriages, God didn't marry us, but make sure you pray about it and put God first.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
In that
Good
in that
stuff.
situation.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Listen, that's some good information right there. I tell spouses all the time. That you definitely need to make sure that you know God has given you the okay to say yes to this person. God has given you the okay. So that was excellent.
Oh yeah,
Listen, if you guys are just joining in, I am here. Coach T is here with my mom, we're basically just having some girl talk. We are talking about, wife stuff, mother stuff, daughter stuff. Listen, you have 7 of us, Jesus. You have 7 of us. Ooh. And so one of the questions that I have is, how did you multitask between being a awesome mother and an awesome mom, an awesome mother and an awesome wife at the same time? How did you multitask that?
You got to balance that thing. You got to know your wifely place and you got to know your mother's place. And it takes work. It takes teamwork.
Teamwork is excellent.
And working all that out. With 7 children, that was a hard task. But I praise God that I made it through. I managed to handle it. You got to balance it out. You got to know when you're playing the wife role, and you got to know when you're playing the mother role.
And God only knows who can do that. 7 kids, Jesus knows.
Yes. Yes.
You did an awesome, amazing job. Listen, like I mentioned earlier, I am giving away a free mother and daughter restoration session. I'm giving away a free mother and daughter restoration session. And I want to know, from your point of view as a mother, why is it so important for a mother and daughter to have a good relationship? Why do you think that's important for a mother and daughter to have a good relationship?
Well, that brings us back to where we are now. A mother and daughter should have a relationship because, like the questions you asking me now, that daughter can always go, Mama, how you came through this thing? Mama, you can always pick up the phone and say, hey, Mama, how you cook this? Or Mama, I'm having this problem right here. You know what I'm saying? Yes. How would you handle it? So a mother and daughter should always have a relationship, where they can always, and I got 3 daughters, and they can always go and pick up the phone and call Mama.
So what would you say to the daughter or to the mother who are not in a good relationship, who are not doing well right now, or not communicating, not speaking to one another? What would you say to that mother or daughter?
Grab a hold to that daughter. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes our kids get grown and they leave and they're on their own, but they're still our kids. But I would say to go ahead on and get connected with a marriage coach. That's what I would say. And get some kind of counseling from that marriage coach, or somebody that you can talk to that can mend that relationship or bring you closer together.
Just some type of coaching in general, to have
just some kind of coaching. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So and this is one of my favorite questions, what are some of the lessons you taught your daughters about being a good wife and about marriage? What are some of the lessons that you taught us?
I always taught you to stand by your husband's side. Always be there for him. Don't beat him down. Don't take his self-esteem from him. Let a man be a man, And another thing, keep people. I must say, people. That's why I'm pushing so hard about this marriage coach or this marriage teacher or what have you.
Jesus,
get somewhere where you can get up under somebody, whether it's Christianity or whether it's a mentor or someone that we as women, we have to talk to somebody. And it's a bad thing when we have to run to our friends and run to our family and tell them our problems, because when it's all said and done, you and hubby done made back up.
Yeah.
But those people that you done told all this information to, they still mad,
Yes.
So don't let people be so quick to bring you something on a garbage can lid. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
When you find somebody that's always complaining about your husband or your wife, and you know, they doing this, and girl, I wouldn't do this, and boy, I wouldn't do this. And, you know, when you find somebody like that, be careful of that person. Be careful of that person, because that person got a lot of information. So that person is watching harder than you. So you be careful of that person. So I would just encourage you to just get up under a strong leader that can and one strong leader, you know, that you can actually talk your problems out, and you know, you have somebody to cry on their shoulder, and they have an ear for you.
Absolutely. And I must add to that, my mother has always emphasized to us to make sure that we are standing by our spouses, make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to do as wives, making sure that we represent the home base. Home is our first ministry. And so I must say that my mother represent that very well. I did see that growing up, that she made sure the house was in order, the kids was eating, the husband was taken care of. Those were some of the things I remember just seeing growing up. But one of the most memorable moments for me as a daughter was you always sharing with us and telling us how pretty we were. You made sure that we knew that we were pretty going out, we were pretty coming in. Like, being pretty was a big thing, and you made sure that we knew that. Tell me, why was that so important for you to emphasize that to us, your daughters?
Well, as a child, I was always told that by my mother and my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, how pretty I was. I mean, to be honest, I know I'm still cute and everything.
Come through, but Jesus. Y'all see ya.
When I was a young girl, I had a thing. I always wanted to be red. I wanted to be a red bone. I wanted to be red bone.
These red bone girls.
Short and bow-legged. Well, unfortunately, it was the opposite. I'm black, tall, and not needed.
Oh, Jesus.
But I emphasize that in my girls and stuff, because I just want you to know, God bless you with a beauty. You know,
that's right.
Give or take, whether it's good or bad, but He did. And my grandmother and mother always installed in my head about how beautiful I was, and you know, I was special. I was made. You know, I was made from God's image. You know what I mean? So I always kept that in my girls' head, and I drew the same thing in my granddaughter's head as well.
That's
you
right.
are who you are.
Right, and that is so important. I share with individual when I teach and share with individual wives or wives to be, one of the things I emphasize to the ladies, one thing I emphasize to them is, once you look at yourself and see that who you are, you represent who you are, represent who you are. And so if you look good or feel good on the outside, you're gonna look good and feel good on the inside as well. And so I think that's a biggie. Sometimes we go through some ugly things and ugly stages in life, but we need to learn how to pretty ourselves up in spite of. And so nobody could ever tell me that I was ugly, because I learned at a very young age how pretty I was. Mom, tell me, how was your relationship with your mom? How was your relationship with your mom?
My mother and I had a very good relationship. Unfortunately, that's why I was able to pass this on to my daughters. My mother was a very hard worker. And so was my father. My mother was I can remember my mom. My mom, her days started at 4 a.m. and her days ended about 11 p.m.
See, why? That's what I'm talking about.
I can remember as a girl, I was the oldest girl of 7 children. And unfortunately, I had 7 children. I should have been tied, but I had 7 children. But anyway, I can remember my mom getting up, going to work at the winter house. I can remember my mama coming home, preparing meals, you know, for us to eat. When the kids come home, I would get them on their homework and get them, you know, fed and bathed and getting their clothes out for school the next day. And I can remember my mom days at Quick and Easy ending at 10 o'clock at night, and she's home about 11, you know. So my mom and I had a very good relationship, because I had to be the mother.
Okay.
My mother was out working.
Okay. And it sounds like grandma was a Proverbs 31 woman. It sounds like she got up early. She raised up before everybody. She did
That's
the things
right.
that wives have to do. She sounded like she is a Proverbs 31. She raised up early. She made sure her family was kept. She made sure that her household was running accordingly. It sounds like grandma was just that person. And I must say that has come all the way down to your daughters, because we do the same thing.
That's
I always say,
right.
I feel like we have the hardest job ever. I really feel like we have the hardest job ever, and we wear so many hats. Wearing so many hats, what was one of the hardest things you had to do as a mom?
One of the hardest things that I had to do as a mom. You know that old saying about the birds, how they have to push they babies at the nest. That was the most hardest thing to do. That there was so hard for me to have to turn my children loose and set them free. You know what I'm saying? That was hard. That was hard. And to this day, I still deal with that. Very hard. That was the hardest thing as a mother to do.
Wow.
To take all of your children away and let them go. Yeah.
So with that being the hardest, what is one of your biggest accomplishments as a mom? What was one of your biggest accomplishments?
Well, my biggest accomplishment, I think, I did a wonderful job in raising all 7 of my children.
Come through, Jesus.
To see all my children finish high school and college, and that's all 7. Whether it was a technical school for a degree, med tech, and beauty, beauty school or whatever, doing hair. Look at me. I got one at the
yes. Compliments of her daughter,
but anyway,
her second daughter, Tasha.
I think I did a wonderful job of bringing my kids up and setting my kids free to be the women and the men that they are today.
Yes.
And I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
Praise
and very proud of all 7 of my children.
Praise Jesus. That's I can attest to that. I can attest to that. She did an awesome job. She did an amazing job. And I can absolutely attest to that. Listen, what I want to speak to my wives. I know I have some wives on here. I know that I have some wives that's planning on some women that are planning on being wives. I have some mothers on here. And so I want to speak to my wives for just a moment. I want to speak to my wives for just a moment by asking this question. What was one of the things you enjoyed about being a wife? What was one of your greatest memories and one of your greatest enjoyments of being a wife? Because a lot of times in these days, wives are just like at the top of it's too much. It's overwhelming. It's a lot. And people are finding it hard to enjoy married life. So what was one of the things that you enjoyed the most as a wife? What's one of your greatest memories as a wife?
The first that come to mind, like I said, I had 7 children, and I worked full time, and so did my husband. Mind to me, I just can remember, and what I miss so much when I sit down sometime and my thoughts start going on and on. I can think about how hard we worked, 8-hour days, sometimes 12-hour days, and I can just remember my husband coming home out the construction field, out in the sun all day, and how he just loved and drilled on his children, succeeding and being the best. He had an old saying that he would say, work hard, work smart, not hard. You understand?
Come on, Jesus. That's my daddy.
Come home. Yeah, I can see that man come home in the afternoon after being out there all day and grab them boys up and grab the girls up, the cheerleaders up, and the track stars up, and the football players up, and going right back out there in that sun. Haven't even walked in the house yet. Hey, y'all got your stuff? Come on, let's go. But
hard work, man.
I can remember I used to love, and I still love, but I just don't do it much. I used to love to cook. And just to see the love and the team that we had together, I miss that so much. If I could do that all over again, you know what I'm saying? I truly would. just to see how he was going his way with the kids and how I'm in there going my way. We're trying to get clothes washed and food cooked and house clean and, signing papers from the teachers. You know what I'm saying? It was just a teamwork that we, just to be able to team up with somebody like that. I mean, you just learn to love it.
Yes, teamwork definitely makes the dream work. Listen, wives, listen to the way she talks about our husbands. I know sometimes it seems like we would never get to this place. We don't have this type of relationship. But you can. And one of the things I always emphasize is restoration is available. Restoration is available, and God is for your marital covenant. One of the things I always adore about my mother and father marital covenant was how they teamed up together and did teamwork, and how they loved up on each other. They didn't allow days and days and days and months and weeks and years to go by without recovering, without coming back to a place of wholeness, without coming back to a place of making up, without forgiving. That was one of the things I absolutely adored about their relationship. And I just remember seeing the love that they had for one another. I absolutely loved that, missed that, absolutely adored that. With that being said, Mom, what was one of the hardest things you had to do as a wife? What is one of the hardest things
don't
you
do me like
do
that.
as a wife?
Oh, Lord, don't do me like that. Oh, the hardest thing I had to do as a wife was to bury my husband. If you only can imagine, that's the hardest thing in my marriage that I had to bear with. That was rough. Yeah.
Outside of everything else, outside of all the other hardship, outside of anything else, burying him was the hardest.
That was the hardest.
And I absolutely can relate, because I witnessed you. I was there by your side. I was there with you. And one thing I can say, God gives strength and grace to the weak. God gives strength and grace to the weak, because he gave her the supernatural strength she needed to endure those days. He gave he gave her the supernatural strength, and I was a witness to that. I
did that.
Strength from watching her being strong. And when the incident happened with my husband just before a few years ago, when he lost his pulse, I was able to respond in a different way based off of what I seen my mother do. One thing I will crown my mom and say until I breathe my last breath is she has that supernatural strength, that supernatural power. God has definitely graced her to do supernatural things, and he can do the same for you. God is that type of God. He is amazing.
And he will.
Awesome. And he does that for us. He does that for, sometimes it seems like we are we're walking alone, and sometimes it seems like we're doing this on our own, but God is awesome. God is amazing. Just him alone. I give him praise, I give him glory, I give him honor for his super over our natural. He is amazing, and he did that for you. He did that for you.
Yes, he did.
As we get ready to wrap this up and come to a close, I absolutely thank you for being here and sharing some of your great wisdom with some of us wives and wives to be. What would be one word, if I had that, what would be one word of advice you would share with wives and wives to be?
Well, one thing what I would share with the wives, I would say once again, be there. Stand there. Let a man be a man. We can't wear a man's hat and pants, but we can be a wife. And when I say that, I'm saying that to say this. Ladies, stop letting people bring you stuff on a garbage can lid. Stop looking for stuff. Back then, we didn't have cell phones and all that. We had beepers.
Come through now, speak, Jesus.
Stop looking through these men's phones, looking for something, going out there with Sue said that you saw him at yesterday, and he supposed to be back today. Let him be, because this man coming home.
That's right.
You trying to get him.
Right.
And this man got to come home. Stop looking for stuff, because you look for it, you'll find it.
You used to always tell us, if you dig for a booger, you're going to find one.
There's one up there.
Keep digging for it. You will find it. You will find it.
Trust me, it's up there. Stop looking.
And I share.
Stop letting people tell you stuff about your old man and stuff that this one ain't no good. You know what? Some of the best relationships out of people always putting the spouse, the woman or the man down. Them be some of the best relationships. They last a long time. He ain't no good. She ain't no good. And guess what? Them be some of the best relationships. And they still together.
Yep. After all these years. After all these years, they still together.
They still together. Yeah.
After all these years. It's important. Yep. It's important, spouses, that we stand and follow through with our marital covenant. With our marital covenant, it's not just our husbands or our wives that we're married to. We are also married to God. We're married to God. If you present yourself as a Christian, if you are calling yourself a Christian, you didn't just marry your spouse. You also marry God. You also marry God. And so a lot of times relationships are not lasting. Marriages are coming to an end because people are too focused on what the next person has said, or they're too focused on their spouse and not paying attention to what they're supposed to do as a spouse. Yes. You focus more on what God has told you to do. You are only accountable for your part. You cannot be held accountable for something that your spouse is doing or is not doing. You are only accountable for your part, And so it's very important that you make sure that you stand in your role, We can't do anything about grown people. Grown people are going to be grown people. Yes. As long as you're doing your part, that's all that God holds us accountable to. That's all that God holds us accountable to. Listen, if you, Mom, had an opportunity back in your day when you first got married almost 33, 32 years ago, would you have hired a marriage coach?
Most definitely. I would have got up on a marriage coach, and especially a woman with such character as yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's also good to get up on the one before you get married. And even while you're going through your marriage, you know what I'm saying? It's good to have somebody, once again, like I said, that you can go and just let that person be the one that you can lay your shoulder on and cry, and y'all cry together, Stop spreading all your business. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you a short story. And I got to tell you this. I'm sorry. We way off. I've always been one. I never been one that have women hanging around my house. That's first of all. Okay. I say that first, And if I had friends come over and I look up and I see that great pickup truck pull, I say, okay, girl, it's time to go. Hubby home, it's time to go, because I got a friend to this day, and she's my best friend. We grew up together on Marion Street. I never forget. And she's a beautiful person. She's a lovable person. She'll give you her last. And I'm not going to call her name, but she was dating a young man. Listen now, y'all listen to me. She was dating a young man. First of all, I left him in Daytona when he did me the way he did me the first time. How you let a man put you out your own house? This is what how that happened. So, but he did for about 30 days. So, but she got back in and they got back together. She put him out. She ended up moving. When she moved, she brought him with him. See, I mean, God will show us all kinds of signs and show us a lot of stuff. Well, she moved him with him. I would say maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, they broke up. And the man lived across the street with another woman that was her best friend.
Listen. People don't understand the power of
her best friend that she was crying out on. She was telling, hey, you know, I mean, I can't take this, and this is the way he do me. And when we start spilling our guts to our friends and other people, you know what I'm saying? Some people, I know y'all know Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. We got a lot of cleanup women out there. So now listen, that woman was a cleanup woman. She got all
old school, baby, old school.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
She was no marital coach, but she was a good friend.
She was giving you she was coaching you on what was going on, though.
You was giving her your information, and this woman was taking this thing in, and she had that photographic memory. So when she was out sweeping her porch, and she seen the woman cross the street putting that man out that she was talking so bad about it, guess what that cleanup woman did? She's in the house with her.
See?
She's in the house with that man. So can you imagine looking at your window every day, just looking across the street, somebody that you done put 5 or 6 years in, now you looking at him take the grocery in the house for the other woman? Oh, no. No, and no. That's all I got to say about that.
Listen, and from a spiritual perspective, people don't understand the power of witchcraft. I know that's a word that many run from. I know that's a word that many people, kind of hide and, try to get away from. But witchcraft is powerful. Love spells, love charms. This stuff is out there. And one of the things I just highly recommend for women to do is get connected with someone they can trust. Even if it's not a marriage coach, get connected with someone that you can talk to. Learn the spiritual side of the marital covenant. Learn the spiritual side, because it's more than what we can see with our natural eye that's taking place. Some things are taking place in the spirit realm that we have no idea is happening. Just something like my mom just shared, something like that happening like that. That was not just something that just happened in the natural. That was something that took place in the spirit realm, And so it's important, wives, that we make sure that we don't just learn about the natural side of the marital covenant, but we also learn about the spiritual side of the marital covenant. It's that important. Listen, Mudma, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to know if any wives or any wives to be have any questions. I don't want to keep you guys on here any longer, but you can definitely DM me, send me a message, any message that you may have that you may be concerned about, anything that you want some advice from my mom to share with you, to give you. I would definitely relay the message over to her and get back with you. I am still looking for that mother and daughter to restore their relationship. I'm looking for that mother and daughter to restore that relationship. Just because it's Mother's Day weekend, that is my gift as a mother myself, as a daughter myself. I want to be able to bless someone in that way. I want to be able to bless someone in that way. Mom, what would be your final words as we close and we shut it down? We tell the people we see them later.
I'm just saying, keep your head on and keep an open eye at all times. You know what I'm saying?
Come through, Jesus.
Don't let nobody bring nothing on the garbage can lid, because one thing about it, you pray about it, God will bring it right to you.
Absolutely. Every single time. Thank you so much for joining me, Coach T. I will see you on next Saturday with Coach T. Talk to you soon. Blessings. Bye.
Bye-bye.